See you later. Oh, we're live.
Yes.
Bye.
Don't let these people stop you from talking.
Shall we sing? It's 9:30 on a Saturday.
I just did.
Time to log on and pray. Well, now we're live.
On page 65.
We've got some prayers to say. Good morning, everybody. Welcome. Whether you're joining us from near or far, we're happy that you're here. We're going to begin on page 65 in our Sidur Sim Shalom, our morning blessings of gratitude. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. Let's begin page 65.
Amen.
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 Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Praised are you, God, removing sleep from my eyes. May we feel at home with your Torah.
Amen.
Amen.
Now turn with us to page 83. We praise the God who created the world through words. Baruch She'amar.
Baruch She'amar v'haya ha'olam. Baruch Oseh v'reishit. Baruch Omer v'yoseh. Baruch Ozer u'mikayim. Baruch mirachem al haaretz. Baruch mirachem al habriyot. Baruch mishalem sachar tov l're'av. Baruch Chai La'ad v'Kayam Lanetzach. Baruch Hodeh u'Matzil. Baruch Shemo. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu v'sholem. Yachidkei Huli Melech Meshubach Umfar Adei Ad Shemo Hagadol Baruch Atah Adonai Melech Mehulal Batish Bachar.
We are in
Amen.
the Zimra portion of our service, our spiritual warm-up. And as we turn to page 104, we reflect on the beautiful words of this prayer that begins Nishmat Kol Chai. The breath of all that lives praises God, and we focus on our breath to calm ourselves and to enter into a prayerful space as we begin our Shabbat service, page 104.
Nishmat kol chai tevarech et shimcha Adonai Eloheinu
Ve'ruach kol basar.
Ein lanu melech ela ata l'rishon. Ilufinu malei shira kayam shonenu ina kayam.
Mitzrayim ga'altanu Adonai Eloheinu mibeit avadim.
Ilufinu malei shira. Eino nato maskihim.
Okra by a chain kotra.
Okay, devarim shefilot tavanu.
Arcane.
Hol atzmotai tomana Adonai michamocha. מלך ומי ישפלך ומי ירח לך הגיבור והנעל ינקני שמיים וארץ נהללך ונשבחך ונברכך ונברך את שם קודשך כאמור לדוד ברכי נפשי את אדוני וכל קרבי את
Again, Kodsho.
Let's say a big Yesher Koach to Charlie Scott for lifting us up through his prayers, through leading us in the opening portion of our service this morning. We're turning now to the middle of page 105 and begin to transition from Pesukei de Zimra into the next section of our service with the words Ha'el beta'atzumot uzecha. We begin on Yom Tov, page 105.
Ha'el beta'atzumot uzecha Hagadol b'chod shemecha Hagibor lanetzach v'hanola v'nolatecha Hamelech hayoshev al kisei ram v'nisa shochein ad marom v'kadosh shemo v'chatuv ranenu tzadikim b'Adonai la'yisharim navat tehillah בפי ישרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדש ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל.
Very nice.
שכן חובת כל היצורים לפניך אדוני אלוהינו ולא אבותינו להודות, להלל, לשבח, לפאר, לרומם, להדר, לברך, לעלה ולקלס, על כל דברי שירות וסשבחות, דוד בן ישי, עבדך משיחך, ישתבח שמך
Let's now rise. We're on page 106. המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים ובארץ.
ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודעות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אל חי העולמים.
Amen.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם יוצר אור ובורא חושך עושה שלום ובורא את הכל.
Amen.
Amen. We're praying on page 107. Things that will lead.
הנה כי ערכך אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס בלתך בנו לימות המשיח ואין דומך מושיענו לתחיית המתים.
Sing with us at home. We're on page 108, Eladon.
אלאדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה גדלו וטובו מלא עולם דעת ותבונה הצובל במותו המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונהדר וכבוד על המרכבה זכות ומשול לפני חיסו, חסד ורחמים לבני כבודו. טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו, יצרם בדעת, בבינה ובהשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם, להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נעזיבם בכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים בימר רצון קונם, וירא וכבוד נותנים לשמוע, תהלה ורינה לזית קרא לשמש, ויזרח אור רע והתקין צורת הלבנה, שבעות נמלוא כל המרום, תפארת וגדולה, צרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש.
אלא ששגם
לא אלא ששלוש וגרמתם, יום השביעי סלם ושלוש כבודו.
God called Shabbat a delight.
וזכרך מלכנו יספור בשמיים ובארץ מתחת, תתברך משינו אשר ומסע ידיך, ועמיורי אשר עשית יברוך הסלע. תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגאלנו ברוך לשם משתמשים פלד מלכנו יוצא משרתים.
Yibarach, page 110.
וכולם פותחים את פיהם בקדושה וטהרה בשירה ובזמרה, ומברכים ושבחים ומפוארים, ומעריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור והנורא, קדוש הוא. להקדיש ליוצרו מנחת רוח, בסופו ברורה ובנעימה, קדושה כולם כאחד. עונים ואומרים מירה, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ כבודו. והאופנים וחיות הקודש ברעש גדול מתנשאים לעומת צרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך כבוד אדוני במקומו. להיל ברוכים ועשיתם למלאכה וכמעשים לעצמם לצלחה.
הוא לבד הפועל גברות עשה.
המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד, מעשה בראשית. המחדש בטובו בכל יום תמיד, מעשה בראשית. כאמור, כאמור, יעשה אורים גדולים. כאמור, כאמור, יעשה אורים גדולים. כי לעולם חסדו, אור חדש, על ציון תאיר, ונזכה למהר ליאורו, ברוך אתה אדוני. יוצא
Amen.
We're on page 111. Ahava Rabbah. Deep is your love for us, God. Preparing to gather together, let's symbol of our prayer for unity.
והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ ודורנו גורמיות לארצנו כי אין פה אל ישוע דתו ברוך אתה בגלם ולשון וקהילת לשמך הגדול סלע באמת להודות לכל יחד כל באהבה ברוך אתה אדוני
שמו.
הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה
אמן.
Amen.
שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
And now the second and third paragraphs of the Shema, words from our Torah and Devarim, Bamidbar.
לימדתם אותם, את מלאכתם לבבם שדוברת, את הדברים עכשיו וקומך וסבתם וזבזר וישורך למען יבוא ימיך ממניכם. לא אדמה שנשבע אדוני לבותיכם לתזיים יש מים על הארץ. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל גמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית על כנפי בגדיהם לדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף פתיל תכלת והיה לכם לציצית וריתם אותו וזכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם ואחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת אדוני אלוהיכם
Amen.
ויציב ונחום בקרוב.
We're praying on page 113 in our Siddur.
לדור ודור קיימו שמו קיים וכיסנו כל המלכות ובאמונתו עד קיימת ולבדו חיים וקיימים ונכונים ונחמדים לעד ולעולמי עולמים.
Our words are living and enduring.
אמת שועתו הוא אדוני אלוהינו ולאבותינו מלכנו מלך אבותינו גואלנו גואל אבותינו יוצרנו צור ישועתנו הודנו מצאנו מעולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך. עזרא אבותינו אדום בעולם.
On page 114, as we prepare ourselves spiritually for the Amidah in just a moment. Shuv b'God's
העדות שבחו וברבו ונשאים שירות ותשבחות ברכות והודות ולמחבקים. תהילות אל עליון ברוך ומבורך משה ובני ישראל לכנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך לדור בקודש נהרות תהילות תוסיף שירו קדוש שיבחו גאולים לשמחו סבת היום יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ופדי חינומך יהודה וישראל גואלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה אדוני גואל ישראל.
Amen.
Let's all turn now to page 123b, where you'll find the words of the Amidah for Yom Tov and Shabbat. Our cantor will lead us in the opening blessings there on page 123b. And then we'll take time for private prayer, for our own reflection on these holy words, beginning on page 125. We're including, of course, Chag HaShavuot Hazeh, the insertions for Shavuot, and for Shabbat as well, the words in parentheses. Page 123b. Let's begin.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Go melech hasadim tovim v'konei hakol v'zocher chazdei ahavot u'mevi goel livnei b'neihem leman shemo be'ahava melech ozer u'fokel u'moshia u'magin baruch atah Adonai magin Abraham u'fokel Sarah אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע מחלקי לחיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ברופאי חולים ומתיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני אחר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמנתו להחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים.
Amen.
Let's have a heart to make a Shabbosos lemenucha, lo'edim l'simcha, chag l'shabbat ez yom ha'shabbat hazeh b'et yom. Al ha'shavot hazeh, zeman matan dorotenu me'avanim l'kodesh zeh, yetziat Mitzrayim. Eloheinu le'otenu yav'yavon. ביום חג השבועות הזה, זכינו דרננו בו לטובה, ובגדנו בו לברכה, והושיענו בו לחיים. ועשינו. אלוהינו ולעשינו סביבנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבוס בישראל והזמנים. על כולם יתברך בישראל.
Yo.
You're still praying the Amidah. Take the time that you need to say your prayers. We're going to be turning now to our Hallel service. It's on page 133 in the Siddur, and Hallel really captures the spirit of our ancestors coming together in the ancient temple to pray and to celebrate. I hope that wherever you're praying from, wherever you're joining us from this morning, you'll pray the words of these Psalms of Hallel with a passion and with a kavanah, with an intention that all of our prayers will join together, and that will be joined together by these truly remarkable and celebratory and sacred words. Page 133, we'll begin with the blessing and then pray Hallel.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'cholam. Asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'kro et ha'Hallel.
Mekim me'afar dol, me'ashpot yarim evion, lehoshim im nedim im nedivei hamo, מושיב יקר את הבית הם הבונים שמחה. בית ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מים לועז. בית ישראל ממצרים, בית יעקב מים לועז. הייתה יהודה לקדשו, ישראל ממשלותיו. היום רב היונוס, הידין יסוב ליוחר. הערים רפדו חיילים, גבעות כבני צאן. מה לך היום איתנוס, הירדן יסוב ליחר. ההרים תרקדו חיילים, גבעות כבני צאן. מלפני אדון חולי הארץ, מלפני אלוהך יעקב, ההופכי הצור, הגהמים, חלמיש, למיינו מים.
Page 134, Lolano.
ישראל בטח באדוני עזרם ומגינם הוא. בית אהרון בתחום אדוני עזרם ומגינם הוא. יראה אדוני בתחום אדוני עזרם ומגינם הוא. אדוני זכרנו יברך את בית ישראל, יברך את בית אהרון, יברך יראי אדוני, הקטנים הגדולים, יוסף אדוני עליכם, מרוכים אתם לאדוני, עושה שמיים וארץ, שמיים לאדוני, והארץ נתן לבני אדם, המתים יהללויה, ולא כל ידומה, ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם, מעתה ועד עולם, הללויה.
Page 135. אהבתי כי ישמע אדוני את
קולי תחת.
שומר פסוים אדוני דלוסי וליהושיע. כי חילצת נפשי ממוות, כי חילצת רצתה נפשי ממוות, את עיני מן דמעה, את רגלי מדחי, את הלך לפני אדוני בארצות החיים, האמנתי כי אדבר אני עניתי מאוד, אני אמרתי בחפצי כל אדם כוזב.
How can I repay God for God's gift to me? Os Yeshuot Esa B'Shem Adonai Ekra.
לכל אסבר זבח תודה בשם אדוני אקרא, נדורי לאדוני השלם נגדנו לכל עמו, בחצרו ספייס אדוני בשוכח ירושלים.
Join with us on page 136.
Hallelujah, et Adonai kol goyim yishabechuhu kol homim, ki gavar oleinu chazdo, ve'emet Adonai le'olam, hallelujah. Hodu l'Adonai ki tov ki le'olam chazdo, Yomarna Yisrael ki le'olam chazdo, Yomeruna beit Aaron ki le'olam chazdo, Yomruna yirei Adonai ki le'olam chazdo. Min hametzar karatia, hanani v'hamerchavia. Min hametzar karatia, hanani v'hamerchavia. Hanani, hanani, hanani v'hamerchavia. Anani, 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 v'hamerchavia, Adonai li be'ozeroi, v'hani erev esalehoi, tov l'chasod v'Adonai mihim toach v'adam, tov l'chasod v'Adonai mihim toach benedivim. Edchuli shaharei tzedek v'modeya. Edchuli shaharei tzedek v'modeya. זה אשר לאדוני צדיקים יבואו בו עודך כי אני צדיק ותהי לי ישועה עודך כי אני צדיק ותהי לי ישועה אבן מסו הבונים הייתה לראש פינה אבן מסו הבונים הייתה לראש פינה בית אדוני הייתה זאת היא נפלאת בעינינו בית אדוני הייתה זאת היא נפלאת בעינינו זה היום עשה אדוני נגילה ונצלח עמו זה היום עשה אדוני נגילה ונצלח
We're on page 137.
Adonai Hoshiana.
Adonai Hoshiana.
Adonai Hoshiana.
Adonai Hoshiana.
Adonai Hatzlichana.
Adonai Hatzlichana.
Adonai Hatzlichana.
Adonai Hatzlichana.
Baruch haba b'shem Adonai v'rachmechem v'beis Adonai. Baruch haba b'shem Adonai.
Each verse we
Mecca. Mecca.
כי לך טוב להודות לשמך ולזמר כי מעולם ועד עולם אתה הלם ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מעולם ותשפחו
Amen.
Amen. Enter Yeshua Koach.
Yashikoach to everybody. Baruch
Giving
Tiyeh.
us in a spirited Hallel. It feels so good just to sing together. So we've come to a high point in our Shavuot celebrations, the reading of the book of Ruth. And I invite you to turn to the second chapter in Ruth. If you have the Megillah handy, if not, I hope that you've accessed the link that we sent out before the Chag, which directs you to the second chapter of Ruth. Really a beautiful chapter in many ways, and there's a lot to say about it. But I want to point you and really direct your attention just to one word in this chapter. That's really a guiding word. We see it comes up again and again and again. At this point in the story, we're about to read of the meeting between Ruth and Boaz, and the moment in which she wins his love and he wins hers. And there's one guiding word that comes up again and again. It's the Hebrew word chen, chet nun, which is a word that everyone should have in their Hebrew vocabulary. The word chen means kindness in a simple sense, but it's much more than that. Chen is really just an absolute generosity of spirit, a freely giving of our kindness with no expectations, just to give out of love because it's a good thing to do. And we see that word come up again and again. As you follow the second chapter, you'll see in verse 2, Ruth is approaching the field. She asks, Emsachen, will I meet someone who has this kindness to give me? And then when she does meet with Boaz in verse 10, she finds it and she's surprised. It's overwhelming for her how kind he truly is. She says, Madua matzati chen beinecha. Did I even deserve this incredible kindness, this generosity of spirit that you've given to me? And I really just want to say that to you, to focus on this word chen. We know it also from the Hebrew word chanun, when we talk about God and God's graciousness, God's compassionate giving. But I want us all to strive the Shavuot, the Shabbat, in the days ahead where there's so much need in our world, to reaffirm in our lives all the ways in which we might be working a little bit harder to give of ourselves, to give of our time, to give of our energy, to give selflessly, and to give with chen, to give with a generosity of spirit to those we love. And as is the case in the story of Ruth, to give to anyone we might meet who is in need along the way. I hope we'll do just that. But for now, let's dig in to the chapter. We're in the second chapter, and we're privileged to hear these words read by Charlie Scott.
ולנעמי מודה לאישה איש גיבור חיים משפחת אלימלך ושמו בועז ותאמר רות המואביה אל נעמי אל חנה השדה ולא קטע בשיבולים אחר אשר אמצא חן בעיניו ותאמר לה לכי איתי ותלך ותבוא ותלקט בשדה אחרי הקוצרים ויקהר מקראה חלקת השדה לבועז אשר ממשפחת אלימלך והנה בועז בא מבית לחם ויאמר לקוצרים אדוני עמכם ויאמרו לו יברכך אדוני ויאמר בועז לנערו הניצב על הקוצרים למי הנערה הזאת ויען הנער הניצב על הקוצרים ויאמר נערה מואביה היא השבה עם נעמי משדה מואב ותאמר הלא קטנה ואספתי בעומרים אחרי הקוצרים ותבוא ותעמוד מאז הבוקר ועד עתה זה שבתה הבית מעט ויאמר בועז אל רות הלא שמעת ביתי אל תלכי ללכוד בשדה אחר וגם לא תעברי מזה וכה תדבקי עם נערותיי עינייך בשדה אשר יקצרון והלכת אחריהן הלא ציוויתי את הנערים לבלתי נוגעך וצמית והלכת אל הכלים ושתית מאשר ישבון הנערים ותיפול על פניה ותשתחו ארצה ותאמר אלה מדוע מצאתי חן בעיניך להכירני ואנוכי נוכריה ויען בועז ויאמר לה הוגד הוגד לי כל אשר עשית את חמותך אחרי מות אישך, ותעזבי אביך ואמך וארז מולדתך, ותלכי אל עם אשר לא ידעת מול שלשום. ישלם אדוני פועלך, ותהי משכורתך שלמה מעם אדוני אלוהי ישראל אשר באת לחסות תחת כנפיו. ותאמר אמצא חן בעיניך אדוני כי ניחמתני, וכי דיברת על לב שפחתך, ואנוכי לא אהיה כאחד שפחותיך. ויאמר לבוא אז לעת האוכל, גושי הלום ואכלת מן הלחם, וטבעת מצד החומץ, ותשב מצד הקוצרים, ותצפות לקולי, ותאכל ותשבע ותותר, ותקום ללקט, ויצב עוז את נעריו לאמור, גם בין האומרים תלקט ולא תכלימוה, וגם שול תשולו לה מן הצוותים, ועזתם בבליקתה ולא תיגעו בה, ותלקט בשדה עד הערב, ותכבוד את אשר ליקטת, ויהי כפס שעורים, ותישא ותבוא העיר, ותראה כמותה את אשר ליקטת, ותוצא ותיתן לה את אשר הותירה מסובה. ותאמר לחמותה איפה לקראת היום ואנה עשית, יהי מכירך ברוך, ותגד לחמותה את אשר עשתה עמו, ותאמר שם האיש אשר עשית עמו היום בועז. ותאמר נעמי לכלתה, ברוך הוא לאדוני אשר לא עזב חסדו את החיים ואת המתים. ותאמר לה נעמי קרוב לנו האיש מגואלנו. ותאמר רות המואביה גם כי אמר אלי אם הנערים אשר לי תדבקין עד אם כילו את כל הקציר אשר לי. ותאמר נעמי אל רות כלתה טוב ביתי כי תצאי עם נערותיו ולא יפגעו בך בשדה אחר. ותטבח בנערות בועז ללקט עד כלות קציר השרים וקציר החיטים, ותשב את חמותה.
שכוח.
Charlie, Yesher Koach, beautifully done, and such an important window into really an essential story of our tradition. So we thank you for chanting. And now we're turning our attention to some Torah reading. Before we do, we have a blessing that we say to help to focus our intention on the task at hand, to focus our attention as well. It's a blessing that I hope you'll join in with, that gets us in the spirit of engaging with the Torah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. We
Amen.
praise you,
Amen.
God, for giving us the gift of mitzvot and for giving us the gift of engaging with Torah, of really wrestling with the words of Torah and learning from them as well. We're going to be hearing the words of the 16th chapter of Devarim, of Deuteronomy. It's from the parasha of Re'eh, and it's a very natural place to turn on Shavuot because it's a chapter which really turns our attention to all of the festivals, but Shavuot in particular. In verse 10, you'll see the words Ve'asita Chag Shavuot, which we begin to learn a little bit more about what our Torah says about the observance of this holiday. And the next verse, just a very, very brief word on it to sort of open up the topic that we're going to be studying. It says this, V'samachta lifnei Hashem Elohecha, you should rejoice before the Lord your God on Shavuot, and then gives a list of all of those in the community who are doing that rejoicing. Your son and daughter, it says, if you're following along in verse 11, and then not just your family, but the stranger, Hager, V'hayatom, the orphan, V'ha'amanah, the widow. And it's an interesting list to point out your immediate family, but then to point out all of those who are outside of your family. And I just want to share what Rashi mentions, which is an incredible midrash, a rabbinic a legend that predates Rashi, where God says this, your son and daughter, that's your family. The stranger, the widow, the orphan, the ones who are most vulnerable, God says, that's my family. Those are the ones who I pay special attention to. And then here's the really beautiful kicker at the end of that Rashi statement. He says that God says, if you take care of my family, then I'll take care of yours. Meaning this, if you go out of your way to give to those who are more vulnerable, to care for the orphans and the widows and the strangers and the ones who need help, then in that sort of reciprocal sense, God is saying, I will bring blessing to your family and bring blessing to you through that. Just wanted to point your attention to that verse and really that incredible Rashi statement on it, because it reminds us of the ethical dimension of this holiday. It's not just a holiday of celebrating, of rejoicing the Torah in the Torah, but a holiday really of celebrating in the values and the push toward justice that the Torah presents to us. Enough for now. We're going to read the chapter. Chag Sameach, everybody. We have a lot more left to do in this service, a lot more prayers to be said, but we're in the 16th chapter now of Devarim. Charlie?
Shamor et chodesh aviv asita pesach l'Adonai Elohecha ki b'chodesh aviv hotziacha Adonai Elohecha mimitzrayim laila v'zabachta pesach l'Adonai Elohecha tzon uvakar b'makom asher yivchar Adonai l'shakein shemo sham lo tochal alav chametz Vat yamim tochal alav matzot lechem oni pazon yatzata meretz Mitzrayim leman tizkor yom seitcha meretz Mitzrayim kol yemei chayecha v'lo yera'eh lecha seor b'chol gvucha shivat yamim v'lo yalim min habasar shetizbach ba'erev hayom harishon laboker lo tochal lizboach et hapasach b'chad sharecha asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach ki im el hamakom asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha l'shakein shemo sham tizbach et hapesach Ba'arev kivo hashemesh b'weit tzedcha mitzrayim uvishalta v'achalta b'makom asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha bo ufanita b'boker v'halachta lo halecha sheshet yamim tochal matzot uvayom hashvi atzeret l'Adonai Elohecha lo taseh melacha.
And now on page 1083, if you're following in our Eitz Chaim Chumash, it's verse 9 of chapter 16, Deuteronomy.
Shiva Shavuot tisfor lach, me'achel chermesh bakama, tachel lispor, Shiva Shavuot, ve'asita, Chag Shavuot l'Adonai Elohecha, misad, nidvat yadcha asher titein, kasher yevarechecha Adonai Elohecha, v'samachta lifnei Adonai Elohecha, uvincha uvitech, avavdecha v'amatecha, v'halevi asher b'sharecha, v'hager, v'hayatom, v'hamana, asher b'kirbecha, v'makom asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha, l'shachein shemo sham, v'zacharta כי עבד היית במצרים, ושמרת ועשית את החוקים האלה.
And now we've turned the page. We're on page 1084 in the Chumash, verse 13.
חג הסוכות תעשה לך 7 ימים באוספך מגונך ומעקבך ושמחת בחגיך אתה ובנך וביתך ועבדך ואמתך והלוי והגר והיתום והאלמנה אשר בשעריך 7 ימים, חוג לאדוני אלוהיך, במקום אשר יבחר אדוני, כי יברכך אדוני אלוהיך, בכל תבואתך ובכל מעשה ידיך, והיית אך שמח 3 פעמים בשנה. יראה כל זכורך את פני אדוני אלוהיך במקום אשר יבחר בחג המצות ובחג השבועות ובחג הסוכות ולא יראה את פני אדוני ריקם איש כמתנת ידו כברכת אדוני אלוהיך אשר נתן לך.
Yashikoach, Charlie. Yashikoach on chanting Ruth and the Torah reading. The words that strike me in this last aliyah, v'lo yera'eh, you shall not come, you shall not appear in the temple. How does it say? You shall not appear without empty-handed. You shouldn't come empty-handed. You've got to bring something into the temple. And what does it mean for us today? We have no temple to bring sacrifices to. So the rabbis tell us that on these festival days of Sukkot and Shavuot and Pesach, what do we bring on a day like today? As we think about Yizkor, which will begin in a few moments, we bring our memories. We bring our memories of the people that we are remembering this day. And shortly we will do that. But first we're going to remember the people who are ill, the people in our families, our friends, our neighbors, the people in our world who are ill, and pray for them to have a refuah shalema, full and speedy recovery. So back in our Siddur, we go to page 144. As we do on every Shabbat, I'm going to pause, and that will be our opportunity to mention the names of people that very much we'd like to pray for and pray that they have a refuah shalema. There are certainly many in our congregation, too many at this point, and there are far too many in our world. So let our prayers be together on behalf of all of them. Mi shebeirach avotenu Avraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah, uyevarech v'yirapeh et hacholim. Let's mention the names now. HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem Lachzikam L'Ropatam V'yishlach Lemehera Refuah Shalema Min HaShemayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuhuf V'tosha Cholei Yisrael Shibati V'yom Tov U'Melizok U'Refuah Karov Alavo Hashta Bagalav Izman Koriv V'nomar Amen.
Amen.
May God, who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing and healing to all of those who suffer illness within our congregational family, in our own families, in our community, and in our world. May God mercifully restore them to health and vigor, granting them physical and spiritual well-being together with all others who are ill. And although it is Shabbat and Yom Tov, a time to refrain from personal petitions, yet we hope and pray that a healing is at hand for all of them. And we say, Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Well, I'd like to have us turn to page 148 now. Yokum Pakon Min Shemaya, and then the prayer for our country and the prayer for Medinat Yisrael. Cantor, if you would, Yakum Pakon Min Shemaya.
Yekum Parkan Min Shemaya. You know, Israel, Henry was an answer. ومن كمان بیشی مالی بشمایه بساد کن کازمان بیدان در مرامین میشه بین آقابوس نورو میسان بیا که به سرونی کراغ بنده اوی باره قید کلا کهانا قدوش از میکول کهیلو دا کودش Hey, Mumanim, hey, Munashim, Mumanim, Mumanasem, Bechol Asher Lahem. Umi, Shem Yachadim Botek Nesios Lidavida. Umi, Sheboim Betocham Lidvalel, Umi, Shem Noten Ibner Lamor, Be'ayin Lekidush Rahamdah. ופת לאורחים וצדקה לעניים וכל מי שעוסקים בצורכי ציבור בבניין ארץ ישראל באמונה הקדוש ברוך הוא ישלם שכרם ויסיר מהם כל וירפא לכל גופם, ויסלח לכל עוונם, וישלח ברכה והצלחה בכל מעשה ידיהם, עם כל ישראל. ונאמר
Amen. Amen. The prayer for our country, page 148. Our God and God of our ancestors, we ask your blessings for our country, for its government, for its leaders and advisors, and for all who exercise just and rightful authority. Teach them insights from your Torah, that they may administer all affairs of state fairly, that peace and security, happiness and prosperity, justice and freedom may forever abide in our midst. Creator of all flesh, bless all the inhabitants of our country with your spirit. May citizens of all races and creeds forge a common bond in true harmony, to banish the hatred that exists, to banish the bigotry, and to safeguard the ideals and free institutions that have always been the pride and glory of this great land. May this land under your providence be an influence for good throughout the world, uniting all people in peace and in freedom, helping to fulfill the vision of your prophet. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they experience war anymore. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
The prayer for Medinat Yisrael, the state of Israel. Avinu Sheba Shemayim, Sur Yisrael v'goalo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reishit Tzmichat Gu'ulatenu. Rock and Redeemer of the people Israel, bless the state of Israel with its promise of redemption. Shield it with your love, spread over it the shelter of your peace. Guide its leaders and advisors with your light and your truth. Help them with your good counsel. Strengthen the hands of those who defend our holy land. Deliver them, crown their efforts with triumph. Bless the land with peace, its inhabitants with lasting joy, and let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Friends, as I mentioned a few moments ago, we bring with us this day remembrance, memories of loved ones no longer alive in our world, memories that still move us and touch us deeply. On these days of Yom Tov, a festival, we are called upon to recite together the prayers of Yizkor, praying that not only will we remember, but that God will remember their souls, their lives, the goodness of their lives. And so I'd like to ask the cantor, as we turn to page 188, after I speak, we'll start the Yizkor prayers themselves, but first the preliminary psalms and readings, which set for us so beautifully the mood of this special hour in the course of our festival of Shavuot. Cantor?
Adonai Modom Vatedoehu Ben Enosh Vatecha Shvehu Adom Lahevel Domo Yoma Bekitzel Hover בבוקר יוצאת וחלף, לא ערב ימלל ויובש, תשבנו שדקה, ותאמר שומו שומו בני אדם. שובה אדוני עד מתי, והיא נוחם על עבדיך.
There is a time for everything, for all things under the sun. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to laugh and a time to cry, A time to dance and a time to mourn, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to forget and a time to remember. This day in sacred convocation, we remember those who gave us life. We remember those who enriched our lives with love and beauty, kindness and compassion, thoughtfulness and understanding. This day we renew our bonds to those who have gone the way of all the earth, to those whose memory moves us this day and every day. As we reflect upon them, we seek consolation, we seek strength, and we seek the insight of faith. As a parent shows love to a child, Adonai embraces all who are faithful. God knows how we are fashioned. He remembers that we are but dust. Our days are as grass. We flourish as a flower in the field, and then the wind passes over it and it is gone, and no one can recognize where it grew. But Adonai's compassion for those who are steadfast, God's tenderness to children's children, remain age after age unchanging. 70 our years may number 80 years if we are granted the vigor, the blessing, the good fortune. Laden with trouble and travail, life quickly passes. It flies away. What are mortals, eternal God, that you should be mindful of them, of us? What are mortals that you should take note of them, that you have made us little less than angels? The sounds of infants attest to your power, the magnificence of life with all its miracles reflects your glory. The heavens display your splendor. What majesty is yours throughout this magnificent world. Teach us to use all of our days that we may attain a heart of wisdom. Bless us with your love in the morning, that we may joyously sing all of our days.
Shiviti Adonai lenegdi tamid kimimi balemot lochein samach libi veyogel kevadi af besari yishkon lavetach
When my loved one is taken from me, how shall I mourn? When my dear one departs forever, shall I wail and rend my flesh? As I do my garment, no, that is not the way of our people. I may find the road ahead lonely. I may dread tomorrow without that voice, without that smile. I may not know whence will come the courage to continue, yet I shall not despair. I shall praise God who gave me my beloved. I shall sing unto God who enables us to love. I shall voice thanks for what I have had. I will refuse to become bitter over what I shall lack. When my loved one leaves me, I shall indeed shed tears. Yet even then I shall utter a hymn, a song of joy for what has been. Baruch atah Adonai, praised are you, O God. You have allowed me to know love. You have granted me an eternal treasure. I'm going to offer some words. Friends, I'm looking forward to the time when I can give a sermon and begin with a funny story, a joke, if you will. This is not the season, this is not the day, but the time will come. I know the time will come. Rabbi Derma pointed out yesterday, and by coincidence, I mentioned it as well, that last Sunday, the headline in the Times made us stop. It made us pause our lives. The headline read, "An incalculable loss. America has reached a grim milestone." Really incomprehensible milestone, which is being surpassed every minute of the day. 100,000 lives lost in 3 months. 100,000, and now today, you know it's more than that. But what the New York Times did, and what was touching and brilliant and moving, was to talk about 1,000 of those, 1,000 out of the 100,000, to remind us that each one had a story. Each one was of infinite value. Each one was precious to family and community. Each one had a unique personality. Each one had relationships. Each one had a world. It is impossible to capture how special each one was. But we know today, those of us who come for Yizkor, what it is and what it has meant to us to lose one after another and another one. And we know the toll of mounting loss in our lives. We know what it is to lose one. We know what it is to have our world shattered. Our tradition tells us that we count every one, every individual. And who taught us to do that? God taught us. Because as we know, as we learn in the Torah several times, God takes a census and God counts the Israelites because, as the commentators tell us, God sees each human being as a precious pearl. A precious pearl. Each human being, in the face of these staggering numbers, our tradition asks us never to lose sight that each one was a pearl, a precious pearl to his or her family. We understand that. We understand what it means to lose a precious pearl in our lives. I have seen so much over these last few months. I have heard more in these 3 months about misery and suffering than I ever want to hear ever again. Nothing compares to what we have witnessed in our lifetimes. Nothing. People have spoken of their absolute heartbreak of being unable to be with a dying loved one. Who can imagine what that means? That wrenching sense of separation. The inability to even speak with a loved one dying, to say one last time, I love you. What this virus has done, the damage it has wrought. To look in the face of a loved one one more time. Just to be present one more time. But that too, taken forever from more people than we can count. The pain they will live with for the rest of their lives. This pain caused by this pandemic will never, ever die. There will always be people, too many people, who will miss forever not having had that one last moment. How I hope we learn from this. How I hope we learn from the stories we have heard the meaning of one day, 1 minute, one opportunity to speak words that need to be spoken. There is so much we have taken in. Our systems have, our souls have heard so much and felt more than they have felt in a lifetime. And we have learned, I pray. We have learned the meaning of one smile. A smile that you can somehow see through a mask. We have learned the meaning of one call, of making one call to one person that says, I care about you. I was reading something not long ago, and it's about what people need the very most in this world. You know what it is? They need to know that someone sees them, hears them, that they're noticed and recognized and acknowledged and important. Oh, I've learned this again and again during these 3 months. How important it is to say, your life means something to me. Something enough that makes me want to reach out to you, to shop for you, to care for you. The meaning of one act of kindness. How many of our members of our community have said to me that what made the biggest difference over these terribly tragic and difficult weeks is someone calling and saying, can I shop for you? Do you need anything at a store? Can I go to the pharmacy for you? Those small acts of humanity that have suddenly exploded back onto the scene, and we're reminded how a small act of humanity, just one of them, can turn a life around and lift a life up. We've learned the meaning of that one moment of faith when during the course of this, we found the faith to say, we will survive this. We will get through this. We will make it to the other side. That one moment when we said, when the world was collapsing, when they didn't have enough room in hospitals for sick, when there were dead bodies being placed in trailers. We had to say to ourselves, we will survive this. We will make ourselves whole in the end. The meaning of one opportunity to speak to a loved one. That's what we've learned. To see a loved one. I want to share with you. Occasionally I go back to a wonderful book by Naomi Levy, Rabbi Naomi Levy, To Begin Again. She tells the story of two people, David and Dorothy, two people from her community in California. And like so many Californian communities, their community was devastated by fire. Their house burnt down to the ground. Everything they had owned, every precious treasure, gone, incinerated. They came back to just pick through the charred ruins of their home. And at that moment, one of their sons, picking through the ruins, screamed out, "Mom, look what I found." He showed to David and Dorothy. It was the mezuzah that they placed on their door years ago. The family had seen everything lost, everything. But the mezuzah was there. And Dorothy said, looking at that mezuzah, "This is it. This is where we start over." One mezuzah, inspiring an entire family to believe that in the wreckage, the devastation of life, that they might find their way forward once again, that they could see once again the possibility that hope could grow, that life could be rebuilt. One mezuzah. Friends, I think of the scenes of the lucky people. You know who was lucky over these last few months? The people who could go to a nursing home and see a loved one through a glass door or a glass window. That's luck. That's being fortunate. That's being blessed. To have that opportunity, that imperfect opportunity, to visit through a glass, to see a loved one. That's what we've learned. We've learned not to be casual, cavalier about these precious opportunities that go through our hands day after day after day. My friends, 7 weeks ago, we were celebrating Pesach. Everyone remembers this Pesach. The world, the Jewish world that is, was living, dwelling in Zoom land. And people were having the biggest seders they've had in years, because they had everybody together. People they normally wouldn't want at their Seder table because they were argumentative or for whatever reason. People who normally don't like your brisket or don't like your knedlach, they were all at the table. And everyone was happy. Everyone was overflowing with joy just to be together. That's what we've learned. And that's what we should never, ever, ever forget. In just 3 months, so many have died in this world. There are so many lost opportunities. So many moments never to be retrieved. Perhaps all of this, everything we went through, adds to the meaning of our Yizkor today. Each person we remember left us a lifetime to remember. Each person we remember whose absence we never stop feeling was a pearl. There was no one like him or her. No one can replace them. Our tradition asks, Mi mevilanu temurato, how do you replace someone? And the answer is, it's impossible. Yizkor asks us to remember how very much each one, each person we have lost was a blessing for us. Some of you know, who know me well, know I am a great fan of Carole King, who was born into this world as Carol Klein. And she has a song, so many songs I love, but one of them is Now and Forever. Cantor, if it wasn't Yom Shabbos, I would cue you up to do a song with you. And she says, she sings in that song what is a Yizkor message. I haven't sung in a while to the congregation, so you'll forgive me. I miss the tears. I miss the laughter. I miss the day we met and all that followed after. Sometimes I wish that I could always be with you the way we used to do. Now and forever, I will always think of you. Now and forever, I will always be with you.
Beautiful.
Now and forever, my friends. That's what Yizkor is about. It says that our way is that it is now and forever. We come on a beautiful day. I don't know how many of you there are watching this today. I don't know who's here, who's not. But I know whether you're here or whether you're not here, now and forever speaks to us. Because we know that Carole Klein King, she's touched something very deep in those words. I miss the tears, I miss the laughter. I miss the day we met and all the followed after. Now and forever, I will always think of you. Now and forever, I will always be with you. Thinking of Yizkor, I was reminded of one of the great moments in Hamilton. It's the moment that Lin-Manuel Miranda calls the most important moment in terms of spoken lyric in the show. He said these words are to him the most important lyric in the show. Who lives who dies, who tells your story. I know you regret that I couldn't sing that to you. The words of life, who lives, who dies, who tells your story. That's what we're doing today. We're telling stories through memory. That's what we have learned to do. And in the midst of this pandemic, which continues to take its toll, we understand more than ever that that is what we must do. Tell the story. Rabbi Naomi Levy wrote the following. It hurts to lose a memory. Think about that. It hurts to lose a memory of someone who is gone. That's a whole Yizkor sermon of itself. How often we have said, I wish I could remember. Suddenly we realize that we've not only lost the person, we are beginning to forget what he or she looked like, what they sounded like. We rack our brains to remember. If we're lucky, we're granted the gift of recovering some of what we lost. An image returns, and we sigh a deep sigh of relief, and we realize that remembering is the highest form of nechama, of comfort. Remembering this story is not just for our loved ones. It's to comfort ourselves. Because without their story, our story is incomplete. So my friends, who tells the story of our loved ones? We do. May we remember how they lived. May we make certain that we are the ones who will never forget that story. May we find in those stories the embers of love which warm our hearts and souls. And to that we say, Amen. So we'll turn to the
Amen.
prayers of Yizkor now. Page 192. Our generations are bound to one another as children now remember their parents. Love is as strong as death, as husbands and wives now remember their mates, their spouses. As parents now remember children. Memory softens death's pain as we now remember our brothers and sisters, our grandparents, our relatives and friends. The death of those we now recall left gaping holes in our lives. Even so, we are grateful for the gift of their lives, strengthened by the blessings they left us and the precious memories that comfort and sustain us as we remember them this day. We'll continue with the prayers of Yizkor in memory of our loved ones, page 192 through page 195 at the top. We lovingly recall the members of our congregation who no longer dwell on this earth with us. They have a special place in our hearts. We pray this day that all who have sustained the loss of loved ones be granted comfort and strength. Exalted, compassionate God, comfort the bereaved families of this congregation. Help them to perpetuate everything that was worthy in the lives of those who are no longer with us, those we remember this day. May their memory endure as a blessing, and let us say, Amen.
Amen.
We'll rise now for the memorial prayers, first for the 6 million, and then for all of those who have passed from this world. Page 196.
המצא מנוחה נכונה, תחת גנבי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים, לנשמות כל אחינו בני ישראל, שנטבחו בשואה, אנשים ונשים מתים, שנחנקו, שנשרפו ושנהרגו, שמסרו נפשם על קידוש השם בגן עדן מנוחתם. אנו בעל הרחמים, הסתירי מסדר גנו בכל העולמים, וצרור מצרחיים את נשמותיהם, אדוני ונחלתם, וינוחו בשלום על משכבותיהם, ונאמר
Amen.
אל מלאי רחמים, שוכן במרומים, המצא מנוחה נכונה, תחת גנבי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים, את נשמות כל אלה שהזכרנו היום לברכה, בעל הרחמים, ויצרור מצרור החיים, אס נשמתם וינוחו על משכבו שם בשלום.
Exalted God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the souls of our beloved who have left us and gone to their eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that our loved ones find perfect peace in your tender embrace, their memory enduring as inspiration for commitment to their ideals and integrity in our own lives. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life. We pray that they're at peace now and forever. And we say, Amen.
Amen.
On page 197, Psalm 23, Rabbi, would you lead the congregation in the 23rd Psalm?
Of course. Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi lo echsar. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. B'na'odesha yarbitzeni. God gives me repose in green meadows. Al mei menochot yanachaleni, and guides me over still waters. Navshi yeshovev yancheni b'ma'aglei tzedek leman shemo. God will revive my spirit and direct me on the right path, for that is God's way. Gam ki elech beget salmavet lo irara ki ata imadi. And though I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil, for God is with me. Shivtecha mishantecha hema yanachamuni. Your staff and your rod, they comfort me. Ta'aroch lefanai shochan neged sorarai. You prepare a table for me in the presence of my enemies. Nishanta b'shemen roshi kosura vaya. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai. Surely goodness and kindness will be my portion all the days of my life. V'shavti bebeit Adonai le'orech yamim. And I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. We turn to the mourner's Kaddish, but first these words. How do we face the reality of death? We know that it is a fact, it is part of life. We try to postpone it. We try to delay it as much as possible. But someday we must be confronted by it. How do we face the reality of death? By giving thanks to God for the gift of life, by voicing appreciation for the blessings we have known, by being grateful for those lives that have touched our own, and those lives whose echoes still resound in us. May the Kaddish that we now recite be not only a remembrance of those no longer with us, but also a reminder of how we should live and the values we should represent. We'll say the Kaddish, mourner's Kaddish. Let's rise. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'yalma divra kirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon uv'yamechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael v'agola uv'izman kariv v'yamru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mivorach Leolam Ulomei Omaya. Yitvorach v'yishtabach v'yipoar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal Shemei Dekudsha Brichut. Le'ela min kol v'yirchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'yalma v'yimru Amen.
Amen.
Yehei Shlomo Rabba min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru Amen.
Amen.
Oseh shalom mimramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru Amen. 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 Let me ask everyone now to turn to Ashrei on page 151.
אשרי יושבי ביתך יעלו חסלה. דור לדור שלום עשה ומורדך יגידו על הכבודה. בנו ברכו אדוני יחברו ודוח לתמונה. פותח את ידיך ומסביר לכל חי רצון צדיק ורבי חדרו. ויראת אדוני ידבר פי ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם הללויה.
We'll be turning to our Musaf Amida for Shabbat and Shavuot. It begins on page 166b, and after the cantor leads us through the beginning blessings, we continue on page 170. Let's begin. Cantor.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avoteinu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor Vehanora El Elyon Gomer Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Hakol וזוכר חסדי אהבות, ומביא גואל לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ופוקד ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ופוקד שרה.
Amen.
אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני מחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע מכלכל חיים בחסד מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים סומך נופלים ברופאי חולים ומדיר אסורים ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר מכמוך בגבורות ומדומך מלך מת ומחיה ומצמיתה ישועה ונאמנתו להחיות מתים ברוך אתה אדוני לחיי המתים.
Amen. Amen.
ותיתן לנו לביאבון שבסוס למנוחה ולשמחה. השבס הזה ויש יום אחד השבועות הזה. זה במתן תורתנו ביאה במקרא קודש זה ליציאת מצרים. ויש מוסף יום השבוס הזה ויש מוסף יום חג השבוס הזה נעזר מבנה ובנוזר מבירות הזמור וביום הביקורים התיכונוש ולפחו שניים הילכות שלו ובשים ראשונה ومن خزامة خزامة يسمحوا بملכوس شمري شباز لكاره يوم نگم نگتیجی زخر ما سبرشی سهلو هلو وسینو ملخ رحمان رحم علينا نابو ميتي دانشنانو
Lo yira'eh.
يراك زخر غز يدرى الهوى ما شيء خار مخار ما تصوت وخار شابوس وخار سوق زويت يا إله مسلم 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 كان شيء مسلم يا تكلم يا قسم عليك شو لازم عليك بدأ فزع بارو خدمة الله شامل و معلوم می نقش باز بیستی کنم سخت بازی
Ay.
بازشان میگم پویتشان میگم
I miss the laughter. I believe we can go on now to Ein Kelohenu. It looks like everyone is done, right? At least the three of us are. I can't see anybody else.
Yum bum bum bum. Great.
Ein Kelohenu, page 182. Let us rise together. Aleinu, page 183.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol lateit gedula yosef breshit shelo asanu kigoye aratzot velo samanu kemishpechado adama shelo sam chelkeinu kahem vegon aleinu kechol hamodam vanafnu koreim ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ממה מארץ מתחת אין עוד על כן גדול. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Minion appear. Mourners Kaddish, Yitgadal v'Yitgadash Shemei Rabbah,
Amen.
v'Alma Divra Kirutei v'Amlich Malchutei, v'Chayechon v'Yomechon v'Chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agola u'Vizman Kari v'Yimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mivorach Leolam Ulomei Omaya. Yitborach v'yishtabach v'yitpoar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudsha barichu le'ela minkol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiram b'yalma v'yimru amen. Yehei shlomo rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen.
Amen.
Well, everybody, we have been cheated because of this pandemic. We've lost about 3 months of Howie Siegel presidential announcements. And that's a shame, because I always love when Howie gets the opportunity to stand at the lectern and offer his announcements. I want to say, I don't know who's on. Again, I have no idea. But if it's just the people who appear, maybe there are more. I hope there are more. One day the book will be written about what synagogues did to respond to this pandemic. And I will tell you that it will be a story for the ages. How beginning in March of 2020, synagogues had to pivot in a matter of days to focus their entire reality in the virtual realm, and how to plan and to respond to the complexity of problems that we have not faced as a Jewish community, probably in hundreds and hundreds of years. This has been a time, and it continues to be a time, that tests the souls of every person involved in congregational life here and throughout the world, but certainly throughout America. And I'm just grateful to be able to say that during this period, Howie Siegel has been president, because I know, and we use this term tirelessly very often, but it's true. He has worked tirelessly to try to help navigate this congregation through problems that no one could ever contemplate, through issues that we could never foresee, through incredible change that has been thrust upon us. So Howie, thank you for all of that. And I know you're counting the days. You're down to what, 31, 32?
Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. You know it to the minute. So, so 32 days, 31 days of this left. But I really, speaking for myself, I'm sure Rabbi Derman, Cantor Varshavsky, and our congregation are so grateful, because the energy that you have put into this has made such a difference. Thank you, Howie.
Thank you, Rabbi. Boy, with those words, they may want me to come back for some more, but
Well, you know, no one thought we would end this service in less than 2 hours and 15 minutes. I was trying to.
all right. So what do I have, 45 minutes to speak now? All right. Well, thank you, Rabbi. Without you, I don't know where we would be. You've been such a source of strength and of courage and hope for all of us, and me in particular. So thank you for that, along with Rabbi Dermer and Cantor
Absolutely.
Warshawski. So
100%.
no, Yasher Koach to all of you for making our Shabbat service today and a Yontif service today so beautiful. And it's been challenging for sure, but all three of you, amongst a whole group of people, have worked tremendously hard to stay connected to our congregation. And we've made another step in having a live stream service now. And I don't know how long this will continue, but I hope those that have logged on and participated will appreciate it even more than the pre-recorded services that we've had. But they've all been beautiful. They've all been inspiring, and just staying connected to our congregation has been the most important thing. And as many have said, our building has been closed, but we are still open. We are still open. We're doing whatever we can. We're active, we're vibrant, and that's really the most important thing. And every other congregation in the country and the world is doing the same. And I'm proud of what we've accomplished so far, and what we will continue to accomplish. And Rabbi, your Yiska sermon today was so on point and so meaningful as well. And we got to hear you sing a Carole King song, and I'm sure the congregation has been missing, your renditions of songs, and we can't wait till we're back in the sanctuary for all of that.
I hope so. I hope they've been missing it.
Right. And as you also mentioned in your speech, I'm trying to remember now, everyone at the Seders was so glad to be together. And I know personally at my Seder, I had 9 different boxes on my iPad that evening, and we were all happy to be together. And I think it just correlates to today. Everybody's happy to be together for our Shabbos and Yontif service as well. So it's just a beautiful thing. Whatever we're doing, it's just so meaningful. And I know all of us need it. And I can't wait to be back in the Merrick Jewish Center, davening with everybody, singing with everybody, and most importantly, having tuna fish with everybody as well. So I don't know when that will be, but I just can't wait for that day when we can return to be together. Speaking of tuna fish, not on the same topic, I just want to give a shout out to our administrative director, Jill Burns, for coming up with a beautiful idea for Shavuot. We offered cheesecake and blintzes to the congregation, and I know 40 or 50 families participated in that. So I hope you're all enjoying your blintzes and your cheesecake. I know I devoured mine already yesterday. So again, I want to thank Jill for coming up with a beautiful idea and for facilitating the delivery of that as well. I also want to remind you, it's Yisker today, and normally we have our Yisker donation cards out. And even more importantly than ever before, to remember our loved ones, please make a donation for Yisker. It says in the Yisker prayer, it says here, in loving testimony to my loved one, I pledge charity to help perpetuate the ideals that were important to them. So when we recite the Yisker prayer, we say we're going to offer some charity. So why don't we all just step forward and make a nice donation to the Merrick Jewish Center to commemorate our loved ones on this special day. Couple things coming up. I just want to remind everybody, those that were on, and I don't know how many are still on, please mark your calendars for our semi-annual congregational meeting. It will be on Thursday, June 18th at 8:30 p.m. It will be a very important meeting. Again, we cannot gather together. We will be on Zoom, so it'll be in the comfort of your own home. We won't have the usual MJC ice cream dessert reception, but I know we'll all miss that. But please, if you can, join us. It'll be an important meeting. We have a lot of information to share with the congregation. That's June 18th at 8:30. That's about it. It's just great being with everybody and being able to. It's been 10 weeks since we've been in our sanctuary for Shabbat services, and I know our clergy miss it. I miss it. I know a lot of you miss just coming to shul and being with each other. But this is the next best thing. So again, a Shabbat Shalom to everybody and Chag Sameach.
Thank you, Howie. Thank you, Howie. And I just want to underscore and emphasize that I know I am so grateful to Rabbi Dermer for everything he has done throughout this period. And we haven't even begun to move forward really in terms of what we face ahead. And Cantor Varshavsky, thank you so much. And everybody on the screen, everybody out there, want to remind you, Tuesday, June 2nd, it is an important day. We do have an important program. At 7 o'clock, AIPAC is coming to the Merrick Jewish Center. And Rabbi Dermer and I felt it would be a good opportunity in the midst of this time for us to get a better idea of what I consider to be the absolutely irreplaceable, extraordinary, significant, monumental work of AIPAC and all that it does to strengthen the American-Israel relationship, which is vital, I think, to both countries, but particularly so to Israel, the state of Israel. So that's Tuesday at 7 o'clock. I want to wish you all Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. I know for us, this is a unique opportunity in our home. Our dog Wally, for the first time, got to hear his father give a sermon. So Wally sat patiently on the chair, listening to me give my sermon, and this was a first in my career. So Wally, thank you for being an attentive listener.
What was his rating of your sermon on a 1 to 10?
It was 2 yawns. It was 2 yawns.
Ready for lunch, Wally.
It was a 2 yawn sermon for him. Page 187, Adon Olam, Cantor.
Adon Olam Asher Malach B'Terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Leit Nasa B'Chefzo Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'Yacharei Tiflot HaKol Levado Yimloch Nora Vehu Haya Vehu Ove Vehu Yeh Betivara Vehu Echad Ve'ein Tein Ve'hamshilo Le'havira Ve'irei Kis Ve'litzmachli Ve'nohaoz Ve'hapisra Ve'hu Eli Ve'chaito It's our family, may Sahara, Meunisi, Manosli, Menatosi, Meyomekra, Meyado, Adonai
Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach.
Everybody, Chag Sameach.